Mary Simon will soon become Canada's first Indigenous Governor-General.
Indeed, my appointment comes at an especially reflective and dynamic time in our shared history. During my time as Governor-General, I will work every day towards promoting healing and wellness across Canadian society.
Now, this is an historic first that Russ Mirasty knows something about. Mirasty is the first Indigenous Lieutenant Governor of Saskatchewan. He was sworn into the role 2 years ago. He is a second-generation residential school survivor, and he joins me now from Regina. Lieutenant Governor, welcome to the show.
Glad to be here. Good day.
I'd like to start with your reaction to yesterday. You are Saskatchewan's first Indigenous Lieutenant Governor. What was your reaction to seeing Mary Simon announced as Canada's first Indigenous Governor-General?
I was very pleased with the announcement, and I guess a big part of that is that she is Indigenous, and I can certainly relate to the day, same day here in Saskatchewan when I was appointed.
You spoke Cree at your installation, if I understand correctly. Mary Simon spoke Inuktitut. What did you, at her announcement yesterday, I mean, what kind of a message does that send to Indigenous people across Canada to see an Indigenous language spoken at this announcement?
Well, I can't speak for her, but certainly for me, when I accepted the position, I said right from day one that I would bring part of who I am into this office and not strictly follow convention, if you will. And it was important to me, or for me, to bring my language into the office, which I have done continuously now. And I think it does send a message to people that this office is more than just a position and a role that, of course, for a long time has been here, the same with the Governor-General, and that Indigenous people can rightfully occupy these positions and bring their culture with them.
What have you tried to do with the job on that front? You say you wanted to do it in some unconventional way and bring some of yourself to the job. How have you approached it during your time in that office?
Well, it started with the language, also wearing some traditional clothing at my official installation. And then, of course, during my travels, giving messages in my own language, but also traditionally the Lieutenant Governor, as well as the Governor-General, will bring a greeting on behalf of Her Majesty. And I've translated that into my Indigenous language of Cree. And as well, during my time here, we've purchased a teepee for the grounds at Government House. One has never been there before, for special occasions, but not as part of a permanent part of the grounds. So, yeah, just a few things like that.
And in Your Honor, how would you say that's been received, and what kind of impact do you think that has had on the broader community as you bring that into your official duties?
Well, I've had tremendous support to my appointment, or for my appointment, but also as I bring in my language and my culture, I've had tremendous positive feedback for all of that, even from non-Indigenous people who don't understand the language. I appreciate the fact that I would bring that into the role. And so I think in terms of the broader relationship building and reconciliation, it's a step. I mean, it's important for people to recognize that we have a culture, that we have a language that's unique to us, but we're willing to share it as well.
So how can Mary Simon use her role? I mean, if you look at this moment we're in, you're in Regina, you're not far from Cowessess, where we've just had the recent announcement of up as many as 751 unmarked graves at the site of the former residential school, and the country is in the middle of this awakening or reckoning about the residential school past. How can she use her role in this moment that we're in?
I think that she frames it building bridges, but also, more importantly, I think, right from day one, bringing her culture into the role, the language, number one, but also the fact that she has this experience on the land, growing up on the land, and living, I guess, as she puts it, rather, in two worlds. And I think what that does really is it reaches a broader audience, so that there is that reality of building bridges and bringing people together and building that foundation of understanding, which is absolutely critical in terms of moving forward for any reason, but I guess more specifically around reconciliation.
How do you view where the country is right now in this moment, sir? I mean, there seems to be more awareness, more engagement, and acceptance of the need for amends and healing with the legacy of residential schools. You're a second-generation residential school survivor. You spearheaded the creation of a residential school memorial in your province. I mean, how do you view the journey the country is in the middle of right now?
Well, it's been somewhat slow since the work of the TRC. I mean, they did tremendous work traveling across the country, gathering stories, and then coming out with the final report along with the calls to action. And it seems that the calls to action have been slow, really, to materialize. And so, unfortunately, the news out of Kamloops initially, and then here at Cowessess, it really is unfortunate. It takes that kind of news to generate that interest, if you will, and to get really people thinking more seriously about residential schools and their ongoing impacts. And I think that somebody like our new Governor General can bring her experience as a day school student and really speak to it in a really honest and kind of really a significant way that's meaningful, versus somebody that may not have that experience but still wants to talk about it. It's just not the same when you bring that lived experience with that.
You haven't been in your job very long, but you've been there a couple of years longer than Mary Simon. I wonder, if you were able to talk to her today, what advice would you give her about her new role, about how to approach things?
I don't know that I'm in a position to give her advice, given her background and her tremendous background and work experience and personal experience. But for me, it's really having an open mind. I think it's critical. I mean, as a Queen's representative for Saskatchewan, it is for Saskatchewan, for the entire province. And so I have to have an open mind when I'm out visiting people and participating in events. And so that's what I would say to her, having an open mind, given the scope of her duties and the travel that she will probably undertake and the number of people and the diverse groups of people that she will meet and work with. Because it's just that diversity brings with it complexities, but also at the same time opportunities to bring people together, to create that understanding that I mentioned already, but it's so important as we look to the future.
No, I think that's good advice for a Governor General and just about anyone else in Canada to have to keep an open mind, especially in times like these. Lieutenant Governor, go ahead.
No, that's true.
Yeah. All right. Well, Lieutenant Governor, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it.
You're very welcome. Thank you for having me.
Hi, I'm Vashi Capellos, host of Power in Politics. See more of our show by subscribing to the CBC News channel or click the link for another video.